You're watching Cover to Cover, our guide to the Sikh and Punjabi books that you need to read. Before we take a look at this week's book, the Central Sikh Museum album by the SGPC, let's hear from another one of our viewers talking about their favourite book.
One of my all-time favourite books is a book called A Child Called It. It's the first of a trilogy by Dave Pelzer. It's an autobiography based on his life, starting from a child going up to adulthood. The first one is just as a child. He's basically talking about his own life, the abuse he faced from his alcoholic mother, the support that never came from his father, his siblings who he constantly worried about after he managed to get out of the same household, the horrible ordeal that he faced throughout his life. The reason I love the book is because I hate the book. I hate the fact that it's reality. I hate the fact that he went through abuses such as having to stand naked in front of a stove, having his mother put his arm over a fire, his mother stabbed him, made him eat his own vomit. It's disgusting, but it's real, and that's what makes it lovable.
The Central Sikh Museum is a collection of all of the artwork that the institution houses at its base in Amritsar. The museum belongs to the Shromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee, otherwise known as the SGPC, and they published this book in 1991. All of the artwork depicted in this book belongs to the museum itself, and they've quite helpfully categorised it into 14 separate sections, including one on the Gurus, on Shaheeds, and on historical events. There are even paintings of those people who painted most of this artwork too. As you can see from the book, it's around about A4 sized, a little bit wider than that, and it's a hardbound copy. Now this one looks slightly tattered because I've owned it for over 20 years, and in that time it's had a lot of usage. These are incredibly great books for people when they're growing up, young children, because they get to see the artwork and take in some of the information that's included here too. So underneath each work of art, it tells you the name of the artist who painted it, it tells you what size the original artwork is, and it tells you the year that they painted the work. Underneath that, in Punjabi followed by English, is a very short description of what you're seeing in the painting. Essentially, some people might look at this as being some kind of picture book, but it's so much more than that. I know that when I was trying to learn the Punjabi language, this was really helpful for me because directly underneath the Punjabi description, the English description is there, and you can use it to try and see how well you understand the Punjabi. And then of course you've got the artwork itself, much of which is inspiring, well, as much as it can be in a smaller format than it is in the original. But of course it helps you to understand Sikh history a lot better and put into context what has happened throughout the timeline since Sikhs have been around. The Central Sikh Museum album, published by the SGPC, is a wonderful book to own in your house, and it's especially brilliant if you're new to Sikhi or if you've got young children. But we want to know what you think, so please leave a comment below and tell us what you think of the Central Sikh Museum album. Join us again for another edition of Cover to Cover, our guide to the Sikh and Punjabi books that you need to read.